topic. We are going to teleport all of you to, say, 2035. So today is 2025. We are going to teleport all of you to 2035. That's 10 years from now. And there is a reason why we have put all of you together. It's not that suddenly I came across, means, of course I know all of you personally, but there is a specific reason why we selected all of you. So, like Empire, Shakir Bhai, he represents an iconic brand in Bangalore. And they are having growth, all the iconic brands of Bangalore are having, say, growth of 15 to 20% month on month, on an average. And they are very well placed, all the iconic brands, say, CTR, Vidyarthi Bhavan, non-alcohol iconic brands, a corner house, even Truffles has joined that group, I would say, in terms of how Zomato Swiggy looks at it. So that business, an iconic brand, is what I'm looking at you, Shakir Bhai. So how that business is doing today and how it's going to evolve. Then Sharad is joining in the mid-segment fine dining restaurants. They are struggling a lot, but Sharad has found a niche for himself with Rasoiya Street, and they're doing extremely well in mid-segment fine dining, non-alcohol brands. And of course, the biggest player is all the brewers, the brewing community in Bangalore, and they are growing, and they do the biggest numbers. So that's where, Prasanna, I think you can pitch in how you think that the brewing business is going to shape up. Shubhradeep represents Auntie Fung's. He founded Auntie Fung's. The business that I thought of is the cloud kitchens, how that business is shaping up over the next 10 years. And also in the small format QSR, fast food kind of chains, how that is shaping up. And Chef Vikram is, it's very difficult person to get hold of. He is consulting to a number of places, and I wanted him to be the voice of the industry, or the voice of, as an outside consultant, how does he see the industry evolve? So all of you have a specialized area, a specialized industry, a sub-industry within our industry. And that's how, maybe, or any opening comments, Shakir Bhai, starting with you.
Thank you, Raunak, and good afternoon to everyone. I think, see, if we look at the last 10 years, what has happened from 2015 to 2025, I think the last 5 years has played a very important, vital role in the whole cultural shift of how people look at food, or how they're going to be treating food. So I think going 10 years ahead, there is going to be a lot of advancements in the way food is going to be served as well as consumed. Now, if I have to take a reference of what Empire is going to be doing in the 10 years, I think for us the focus would be in ensuring and maintaining that legacy that we've maintained over time. And how are we going to do is going to be the question. Now, for us here, I think we will keep things very simple. Now, adding tech is predominantly for Empire has been at the back end, not on the front end. Because, like yesterday I met with one young chap who came with a new ordering platform, and he said, we want to revolutionize the dining way, how people order. They can place an order at home and then come, sit on the table, food gets served. I said, for an imagination purpose, yes, I think it's possible. But otherwise, for a restaurant like ours, if somebody has to place his order from home and come with the expectation, the moment he's seated, he will get served, no. I said, no. Let me be very honest. That doesn't happen today. So if it doesn't happen today, in 10 years, I think when it comes to eating habits, a lot may not change. For us being a daily habitual brand, I think we will try to keep the essence alive, wherein the human touch is there, the hospitality feeling is there, you're being welcomed, you're being remembered. So as far as Empire is concerned, I would say I think we will try to keep things very simple with minimalistic involvement of tech for the customer touch point as such, because when people decide to come to Empire, it is not a decision. It is there, I think, for the next 6 months, they've decided, ठीक है, ये time पे मैं ये रहूँगा, I will enter going to Empire. ಯಾವಾಗಲೇನು ರಾತ್ರಿಗೆ ಆಚೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ರೆ, that is going to be at Empire. So we have become a part of life. So how do we ensure that we consistently stay that? I think we've equipped ourselves to, bring in or embrace change overnight. I think the systems and processes are equipped in such a way that any change that is applicable at Empire is always welcomed. And we are embracing that. I think we will not shy away from the fact that, no, we will stay true to our way of doing things. No, that has to change in time. It's what I feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakir bhai. We'll come back to you on what are the adaptations that you are doing. Coming to Sharad. Sharad, I feel your segment is the toughest segment. Means when we look at the market, my friend Prasanna is here from Manago. We see the most number of restaurants closing is in your segment. That is mid-size, non-alcohol, in APC anywhere between 500 to 800 or 1000 rupees. That is where we think that the competition is highest. People think that it's a very easy place to enter. And how you have carved a niche for yourself in the last 10 years, if you can tell about your starting journey, and then we'll tell about the next 10 years.
Thanks, Raunak. First of all, giving this opportunity to be with all these people. Thanks, Shakir. We take a lot of inspiration of what you guys do. Raunak, to answer you, it comes to my bringing and the reason we started this venture. The idea was never to start and do a restaurant business per se. The goal which I started with was mostly, I have my mom, I was working with corporates, right? And she has been doing business all her life. So to get her engaged, and my father had a dream to start the restaurant, to fulfill those reasons were the only reason to start the restaurant. And we were happy even if we are earning break even. For first year, we were only break even because we were newbies of restaurant. And the second thing is, I come from a very middle class background, right? Wherein ki sabzi bhi kharidne jate hain to dhaniya chahiye, right? So we don't have a mindset to sell a dish at 1,000 rupees or 1,200 bucks. So jo kharida hai, wohi bech sakte hain, right? So in this segment, as you rightly said, the price points are tough, the unit economics and the business operations are tough. But what we figured out that when we started, right, it was getting good food to the people. And these days people, because if you see in Bangalore, every month there are 4,000 eateries opening, right? How would you stand out? So what we feel, when I think in hindsight, it was our story. Like a old lady or a middle class family running a restaurant with core values. So when you come to the restaurant, you feel welcomed. It's not only about the food, it's the story, the people running behind it with the values they are running in. And till COVID, it was only food, where people would come in again for the hospitality and the food we were serving. And post-COVID, I see a trend where it's not only about food. You have to keep innovating. Now people are not, or the guests are not restricted only to food. They need other elements as well, like ambience, the plating of the food. And we have to keep innovating over a period of times where we have to make sure that the customer again feels value for money. It's not that you're coming and having a food. So over a period of time, we have innovated on that, and I believe that our segment would be affordable luxury, wherein you will always have pressure of the P&L and the rising cost. But yeah, with the right operations, we are able to do, and I believe that in the coming 10 years, in the near future, this will be a trend where restaurants will have to stand out, okay? Not in terms of their food and USP, but in terms of what story they are bringing, what innovation they are doing, what kind of food they are serving, and what is their story. And I see that is, because these days people see, and then they decide where to eat. And you will have to keep building on that.
Thank you. Coming to Prasanna, people in the industry looks at the brewing business that they do, okay, 2 crore plus, 1 crore plus revenues, but they also sometimes forget the regulations challenges. the ever-increasing cost, the huge capex that goes into this business, as well as I think also Bangalore is right now facing a problem of plenty, where we where, where we have a pub or a brewery every 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers, or even lesser than that in some areas. So how has been your journey in the last 10 years, and how you are coping up with these challenges?
Yeah, thanks, Raunak, for the opportunity. I think for us, we started at 2019 as a brand with one outlet in Electronic City. So the goal was,
Niladri Road, I
think,
remember.
Yeah,
I remember Niladri Road, yes.
right. So the goal was, I think, to have the outlet which is crowded by the corporates and techies. So where the business requirement is a lot more compared to the central Bangalore or the partying areas. So that's how we started the first outlet in 2019. But then I think we now at having 5 locations. But all of them, I think we selected a location which in like people come in a larger groups. Like if you come to any of the Bangalore Brewing Company outlets, you see 25 people, 30 people dining together. Right? So that's one of the reasons I think why we chose this kind of location. I think we are able to survive there. But looking at the options, yes, there are a lot of places opening up every day and plenty of breweries coming up. I think everybody wants to get into this virality situation, not trying to, set up a standards within them. That's how I see the market also. But people who are able to stabilize and hold on to it, I think they are holding it. But I think some people who come, they shut down within 6 months. I've seen many breweries opening up in last 1 to 2 years. And most of them are struggling now today's date. Because I don't think so anybody is letting differentiate between what others are doing and they are doing. So everybody is copying one business and trying to do. So as a brand like us, I think the way we are trying to set different from the other brands, I think one thing we are trying to innovate with the ambience, which looks like an old Bangalore theme, where people like to come back again. And with the food, I think we keep it mostly 60% to 70% on classic food. We do not, keep experimenting on things that we do a lot of fusion. Because end of the day, I think if the customer wants to come back, they want the comfort food rather than every time they see something experimenting. So this trend we have seen in last few years, I think we should stay to the classics also.
No, thank you. Thank you very much. Even Kanakpura also you get large groups?
Yes, we do get a lot of families there.
Okay.
That was
Because
only
lot many corporates are not there.
not much. There are a lot of larger family groups comes where usually it's 15 people, 20 people kind of groups.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, coming to Shubhradeep, again, this in the cloud kitchen format, a lot has changed. Lot has changed in last 10 years. We saw many players jump into the bandwagon during COVID. Like every household became a cloud kitchen. Whoever knew how to cook, they became a cloud kitchen. So how do you see that evolve, the cloud kitchen business, as well as in small format, dine-in formats, which I know now you have opened up Sarjapur Road, which is your flagship outlet. You already had a Bell Road. So how do you see that evolve, both the cloud kitchen and small format QSR kind of formats?
Okay. Hi, thank you. Thanks, Raunak. Good afternoon, everyone. So I run this brand called Auntie Fung. It's a 10-year-old brand. Now, the journey has been quite roller coaster, and we went through multiple pivots. So I did not start as a cloud kitchen brand. It started off in BL Road as a small takeaway joint. Then we expanded through the smaller format inside business parks, shopping malls. Then the world changed in March 2020, and cloud kitchen was more like a survival thing for us. Everything shut overnight. So then we opened a few cloud kitchens, and revenue-wise, we bounced back. But that's when we figured out that, okay, the model, so from a 70% dine-in business, overnight it became like a 95% delivery business. But yes, we could survive. And then we started scaling through that. Now, but yes, cloud kitchens or deliveries gives revenue, but all of us know that it does not give you margins. And it also does not give you a brand building. I mean, there are so many, if you just zoom out and think of other consumer businesses, none of us know any brand or any seller in a market, in an Amazon or a Flipkart. Many of the sellers are 1,000 crore, 2,000 crore revenue, but none of us know. So that's the other challenge. So unless you have offline presence and you can't really build a brand. That's my way of looking at it. But yes, there are brands who have like Behroo's and all are pure cloud brands. But you have to spend huge amount of money in building that brand and have a Saif Ali Khan doing ads for you, which I think many of us can't. So a cloud kitchen model for us was more like a survival thing. But then once COVID stabilized, all of us realized that it's just another flu. As we speak, people are saying the COVID numbers are again going up, but all of us are absolutely comfortable, and I don't see any one of us having a mask today. So now then comes the dine-in model, and that's what we did, that okay, wherever the cloud kitchens are doing well, let's reverse pivot and open dine-in. So we did that with Sarjapur. We are exploring Indiranagar and Whitefield. But fundamentally, Raunak, and I think it's more a food for thought for the people in this room today, the topic, the heading is the food business, the future of Bangalore F&B. And I have a slightly contrarian point of view in terms of slightly provocative maybe. That if you just zoom out and think what's happening in every consumer business, whether it is, say, FMCG business, airline business, technology has disrupted every industry. I mean, Big Basket was a huge innovation till probably 2 years back. I remember every Saturday morning for my wife, 1 hour Saturday morning dedicated to Big Basket. 10 years before that, it was going to a top in town or a Shobha supermarket. Then came Big Basket. Today, there's no planning. It's literally right when you have put the things on the kadai, you realize there is no jeera, you do something with your phone and the guy comes with a packet of jeera. So that's the innovation which has happened there. So I think if we, as in the food service, this is probably the last industry where tech has not really disrupted worldwide. It is happening now. Swiggy, Zomato has just disrupted the go-to-market part of it. But a lot of innovations are bound to happen, or disruption is bound to happen in the way consumers are interacting with brands. And if there is one city in India from where all these innovations will start, it has to be Bangalore, fortunately or unfortunately. We call it the Silicon Valley of India. So it has to happen from here. I mean, for many of us in this room, I know there are some kids, but for many of us in this room, the first email ID was with a yahoo.com. The first mobile phone was with a Nokia. None of the brands exist. So if we as brand custodians of food service, we have to embrace change. We have to, now interactions will change. Consumer interactions will change, but as brand custodians, we have to be open to that change. I think Shakir represents one of the most legendary cult brands, and he was being modest when he said that on the consumer side they don't, but I know on the back end and all the kind of innovations which they do, it can be a masterclass for maybe Raunak can schedule it next time. So I think that's the point. Change is inevitable, and we have to be open to those changes, whether it's on model, whether it's on consumer innovation, and even on your go-to market.
Thank you. Thank you. I disagree on the front that maybe the old email IDs and modernizing it. In our industry, I'm seeing that all the old players, whether it's Empire, whether it's Vidyarthi Bhavan, whether it's CTR, Truffles, Corner House. I recently relaunched Samrat Chalukya. They are doing phenomenally well. They are doing phenomenally well. And most of the consumers across the age group connect with this legendary brand. Chef, coming to you, you work with so many successful brands, including, say, Decor Brews, Longboat. There are so many successful brands under your kitty, and you are one of the most sought after consulting chefs in the city. What are the challenges that you see that today's F&B industry is facing? How do you think that we are ready to cope up with it?
Thanks, Raunak. And yeah, so what the challenges are and how that could be mitigated is a very, very, subjective matter. Taking off from where, Prasanna did mention, about locations. I think the first component of this challenge can be mitigated if the location is right, at a macro level and at a micro level. So if you're also saying Marathalli, for example, at a macro level, where in Marathalli is this location is what is so critical. You know, which U-turn do you have where they have a traffic jam? So the guy next to, on the other side does 2 crores more, and then, you know, the person on the other side does 2 crores less. So I think, you know, I mean, at a macro level, one should really look at the 3 L's: location, location, location. I think, and I keep joking, you know, I keep saying, good food, bad location may not work. Average food, great location, 100% success. You know, I mean, that's really how the numbers have been. That's really what we've been seeing. The other thing that I think I agree with most of us on this platform and forum is, and all the brands here, I think, have stuck to their basics. You are serving comfort food, you're serving old gangster Bangalore food. You know, I mean, Asian food is such, in such high demand, I think, on most large format restaurants, you might find that at category 2. After Indian, I mean, and South Indian is trending very, very well now. So I think, yeah, it's all about the menu mix. It's not about, you know, trying to bring fatigue into the menu, but also just ensuring that there is that level of freshness, because again, when you have large groups come in, they want a larger variety of choice. They want multiple cuisines. Not necessarily maybe to really order, but at least to have an offering, you know, in terms of comfort of the others. So this is one part of it. I think the other part of it is the challenge is when we're not looking at building it as a business. When we say, hey, look, this is my competitor and I need to be better than him. I need to price myself below him. You know, and you're not getting down to the basics of, you know, actually doing the math, costing the recipe, understanding what the yield is. I think here a lot of restaurants, breweries might probably see high top lines, but then the bottom lines don't make sense. And I think for any business, especially in an asset-heavy business like the food and beverage business, I think the bottom lines are very, very critical. And I think, yeah, the success would again rely really on the product mix, what the menu is to offer, and really sticking to the basics, and then playing over that. So we've also seen trends of, you know, modern Indian restaurants open, they trend on Instagram, there's a big rush, might last 6 months, 8 months, 1 year. But is that what is required? No. So I think there are a whole bunch of factors, but, you know, I mean, focusing on the bottom lines are most important. And yeah, I hope I answered your question. I don't know.
No, you touched upon a very important subject of location. So, as some of you may know that the large format breweries and its city center is no longer the choice, or city center, or even for that matter Indranagar, Kormangla, because here we have the problem of plenty. The new project of Rameshwaram, as many of you would know, that it's in Bomasandra. Beyond, it's a 22,000 square feet project. It's beyond, means what we would call Bangalore actually. So maybe we can just quickly touch upon this topic on location. I know Sharad has a very different take and different approach to this location topic, but maybe quickly touch upon this, that where are the growth areas that you are seeing in Bangalore? Is it within the city, or is it in the newer areas like say Batrali, like say beyond Arikere and beyond in Banerghatta Road, or beyond Kanakpura Road, that Art of Living campus? Are you seeing growth in these newer areas, or still your expansion plan are very much in the city? Shakir bhai? Because all of you have multiple outlets and multiple.
See, I clearly agree with Chef Vikram here, because for us, I think over the years, we've chosen a location keeping in mind the kind of density of population around. And once we understand a particular area, then we go about looking at conveniences and accesses. Now, for us, being a late night brand as well, parking is always a concern. And again, being a late night brand, noise, nuisance is a concern. So the neighborhood needs to be clear. So we have to look at a road which is commercially viable for us to do business, where there are no problems for the neighbors who are living around. And at the same time, today with Swiggy, Zomato being there, we need to have a separate space for them to come and park their bikes, collect their food and go. Because again, we are a large contributor to that. So location plays a very important role, and our growth has been hand in hand with how Bangalore city has grown by itself. Now, if I have to remember 2010, the kind of number of outlets we had, probably about 6. Today, we are closely operating about 50. Now, when I say 50, it's a mixture of full-fledged outlets, kiosk models, and a lot of cloud kitchens. Now, cloud kitchens is something that was born just before COVID, and I think we terribly failed in the first 2 to 3 years. But then in time, we understood what kind of a model it is. So today, I think my bottom lines at a cloud kitchen versus a full-fledged restaurant, more or less the same. What a 400 square feet is giving you versus a 4,000 square feet, right? So a hybrid model is something that always works. Now, like Chef was saying, now in an area like Rajajinagar, where we started in 2018, the growth has been phenomenal. That outlet, we've seen a triple SG of close to 220% over time. So what we started with, an average monthly revenue of, let's say, 70 lakhs, today is 2 crore above. So that the outlet is a basic bottleneck. We're looking at an auxiliary unit. So location does play a very important role. Now, you asking me which are the areas. Now, I would say it is mixed. CBD is completely, it is stagnant. Now, over the weekends,
CBD means...
CBD means, I would say the 7 kilometers from MG Road.
Indranagar,
A radius of 7 kilometers from MG Road is CBD for me. Now, anything out of that is where there is consistent growth. At least a year on year, for that outlet, we're looking at a 10 to 12% growth. But again, that will stabilize as and when we're going forward. Because again, Bangalore as a city has its limits to its population. We are sitting at 1.5 crore today. They're estimating another crore of people in the next 7 to 8 years. How is it going to manage? So what kind of models are we looking at? Now, for me, I would say we are looking at the hybrid model. Now, an area like Rajajinagar does require a cloud kitchen within a 3-kilometer proximity. So I get a larger area of delivery again, not paying my long distance charges. So there are various aspects that we look at in terms of choosing a prospective location. I think for us, and today, Greater Bangalore amendment coming into place from October, they're extending up to 60 kilometers. So Ramnagar is going to be within the city. That is going to be Bangalore urban today. So it again gives us more room to add more outlets and to reach out people. So convenience, access, for a brand like ours, we look at that. So we want an outlet within every 5 kilometers of this city. So my delivery times are less than 25 minutes. So that is how we've been looking at strategic and prospective locations.
So, Raunak,
Yeah.
like when...
Yeah.
Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes.
So when we scout for our locations, my philosophy is very simple. So our TG is basically a family, a husband, wife, 2 kids, right? So when I am taking my family out, I would like to go to a place where, one, it's accessible. Because in Bangalore, wherever you go out, you first of all have a fear of traffic, right? So you figure out that if these locations are accessible. Secondly, I want to have a parking, right? As a consumer, if I'm going to a place, I don't want to struggle on the parking and the basics of it. And given that the segment we operate in, right, our APCs are 500, 600 per person, right, where we cannot afford a premium rentals, and with time, the rentals have shot across in Bangalore. So we prefer that the place is accessible, we have decent enough parking and accessibility to our consumers, and we go for the 3rd floors and the 2nd floors where the rentals fit into our scheme of things. And in my last role, I was leading the supply chain for a big e-commerce company, and where we did this pilot for Q-commerce or so. And the numbers where I used to see the average delivery cost and the average order time and etc., I figured out that Bangalore with time has become a high street culture, where people tend to have their convenience in 3 to 5 kilometers within their stay, right? So let's say if I have to go to a legendary outlet like a Rameshwaram you're referring, or some cuisine which I am fond of, I would drive through. But in a day-to-day convenience, I would like to prefer into 3 to 5 kilometers where my travel time is between half an hour going and half an hour coming, right? So you have these pockets, right? Whitefield, Koramangala, Marathali, and all these places where you have good density, high-rise societies as well as corporates. So that is the one reason we look. And then accessibility, the rentals which we are looking for is how we go about scouting the locations for our business.
Yeah. Yours is more a destination place, right, Prasanna? It means people plan to go to BLR Brewing. It's not like, so you can be more a destination place.
Not actually. I think if you look at the locations that we have, so one of the Whitefield location is what the largest that we have. We have 1,200 seats there with a waterfall and everything. So this place, we built it considering it's going to be a destination. But I think if you look at our other locations like HSR Layout, I think it's more of like a convenience store. I think for our bottom line, I think HSR outlet does very well compared to all other outlets for us. In terms of capex or what we extract out of it, I think it's much better ROI. And recently, we also signed up a couple of places where we are entering within the Tech Park campus. So the recent one we just opened within a month back was like within Prestige Tech Park. And we're also opening one more in Eco World, which is like, again, attached to a tech park under residence community. So there I feel because like how chef was saying that, the U-turns matter a lot where people actually want to go 2 days. I mean, absolutely right. I mean, if you have a better food, like say 2 kilometers away, but takes almost 45 minutes to reach there, which is a daily basis scenario in Outer Ring Road, right? You cannot cross Marathali or maybe the Kardu Basin Alley within 30 minutes. So people like to stick to where they are actually. At the same time, if you look at new formats that is coming into the place like Malaysian cuisine, there is also cocktail bars coming up in a smaller place. Omakazi's style restaurants are coming up. These are located in Indranagar. I think Indranagar itself has been named as, okay, there is a new experimental place available today in market. So people are going to Indranagar assuming that, okay, they got something new to try.
So anything experimental has to start from Indranagar.
I think there is a way of people accepting the idea, right? And as I told you, I think maybe people think that Indranagar has a good way to start things. And I think maybe 12
No,
minutes.
I agree to that. Anything experimental has to start from there. Okay, that's
At the same time, we also have another brand called Bengaluru Coffee Roaster. Honestly, we have done zero marketing for that cafe in HSR Layout. I think doing very well.
I am a regular over there
Thank you.
because Chetan is a dear friend. So
Okay. So that outlet, I think we have done zero market. It just runs based on the location and
it's
a good quality
phenomenal.
products. Yeah. So that
Phenomenal.
also is very important for places like cafes. Should be on a high street rather than being on a first or second floor. Because people walk into what they see.
So again, coming back to where do you see the new growth coming from for the next 10 years? Do you see it from CBD or Whitefield or in the newer areas of Bangalore? How do you plan the new growth?
Well, I think, see, to answer this in two parts, for us, it also depends upon the stage of the brand. Like, what will be applicable for, say, Shakir and Empire, given that they have completely captured the Bangalore core. And core includes even a JP Nagar and a Jayanagar or a Rajaji Nagar on the other side. For us, given that we are still in the cloud format, we have covered the main core part, but when we open more dine-in, we would still want to first go through whether it's a Indranagar, whether it's a Kalyan Nagar, wherever our clouds are doing well. But on the slightly extended Bangalore, like Kadugodi, just off Hope Farm towards Hoskote, that's one cloud kitchen which is doing exceedingly well for us. Even I was quite pleasantly surprised. Even the AOV there is much higher than my overall city average. When we went deep, we realized that, okay, the profile is very different there. There are a lot of those villa projects where people are there, and so dishes like a ramen or a khawsui sells much more there than my city average. So those pockets are there, but given the stage where we are, we would still feel that There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of milk to be extracted from the core city. On the location thing, I've realized one thing over the running this business over the last 10 years, that you can cover up or make up for every other mistake. But if the location goes wrong, you can't make that up for anything. Food is an issue, operations is an issue. You can cover that up. But location, as Chef said, you have to shut it down and relocate. And when it comes to choosing location, one is anecdotally, okay, everybody thinks HSR, everybody thinks Kormangla, everybody thinks Indiranagar. But I think understanding your consumer, keeping your brand in mind. What is a TG for Shakir may not be for a Bangalore Brewing Company and may not be for me. So understanding that core is very, very critical. And I've realized, I mean, pre-COVID, we had an outlet in a food court of a mall, and it was surrounded by tech parks. But the profile was very different. And my typical Indo-Chinese sale was much higher than the ramens and the khausues for which I want the brand to be known for. So just the quantity of the footfall is not what matters, it's the quality of the footfall basis your brand. So, and that comes only with understanding going deep.
One closing comments on location before we move on to the next problem area. Do you think, like we discussed, that there are some specific areas for specific cuisine? Like a vegetarian will do only well in Jayanagar. If you are opening, say, a very fine dining European or Mediterranean food, it will do well in CBD and Indiranagar. But if you are doing biryani, it has to be in Marathalli. Are there certain pockets of demography or like vegetarian is doing exceptionally well in Jayanagar? All the brands. I work with a couple of them. All of them are doing phenomenally well.
Sure. Now, I mean, in fact, this discussion has been, this has been the point of discussion over the last few days with, a lot of clients and partners. Look, let's take a conservative area like Baswangudi, for example, right? South Bangalore, the heart of vegetarian land. When KFC started in Baswangudi, they were the highest selling outlet in Baswangudi. So I think
I contributed to that. I studied there.
So there you go. So I think this whole idea of, well, Jayanagar is for vegetarians, Marathalli is for biryani-tarians.
Biryani, Andhra.
I don't think so. I mean, I slightly disagree with that, because even Shakir, I think your Jayanagar store does, huge volumes, and the late night crowd there is probably much more than the other outlets within, much more than CBD also. So I think this is independent perception, and I think this is where as individuals who start businesses and make these mistakes of making decisions based on their likes and dislikes, I think that's the fundamental mistake that a lot of them make. Opportunities, like you were saying, your store in Malleshwaram, was it, or Rajaji Nagar? The highest sales, and Rajaji Nagar is a very conservative society again, it's old Bangalore. So I think the approach should be to really go where the market demands and not perceive something to be what it is based on the demography. So they are two completely different things. And I think most mistakes are made there, and I interact with, restaurateurs, hoteliers, people who want to get into the business on a day-to-day basis. So the number of them that I meet and the number of them that I'm asked, for with these questions is exactly this. And this is my answer, because at the end of the day, it is various other aspects. Do you have valet parking? Do you have parking? Do you have experiential dining? By experiential dining, I'm not saying, loud music or anything. I mean, it could be just the comfort of a good air conditioner for an Andhra-style restaurant. It could be, quick service for an Empire format. It could be, comfort, fresh air, open air for your format, and quick service in terms of, your formats. So I think deciding what cuisine, whether vegetarian or non-vegetarian, is to be served based on a perception is really not viable, because it could just work the other way around. I hope that answers the
Yeah.
question. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we are running out of our time.
Yeah, and also just to answer the last part on the new modern take on vegetarian comfort food that's coming out now in Jainagar, I think it's also the first mover advantage. So the first one who starts it does really well, and so then there are 10 brands that chase that till the kind of business is kind of, saturated, much like in the brewing business. If I put 20 crores in a brewery, the next person wants to put 30 crores and have 500 more covers. So I think, at some stage, all of this kind of...
All the breweries are doing well in Martali.
Yeah, so, no, I think the number of them that were there probably like in 2020, 21, the numbers they were seeing were very, very different compared to the numbers they are seeing now. I think they're all sharing a little bit of that cake. But I think quality, consistency, and the product, whether it's the beverage or the food, I think it also matters. But, there are various other factors, how well you're able to sell, what kind of a corporate sales team you have, how many people you're able to bring in, what kind of offers you're able to throw out there. So I think all of this matters as well.
One question we have to answer before we wind this up is the big elephant in the room, that aggregators. What role are they playing currently in your business? What kind of havoc are they creating? How do you see a change in dealing with them in the next 10 years? And especially the dine-in heavy business, like say Prasanna's, how do you see margins getting impacted because of these aggregators? Because they have a clear charter to take over 50% of dine-in business in the next 1 year. We already see with some of our clients that number has almost become 40%, 30-40%. So how do you see aggregators, both for dine-in and delivery, how it is impacting you now, and what do you think in 10 years, what will happen? Is there a way? Unfortunately, we had the BBHA president. I would have asked him that what we are planning as a community to fight or to adapt to the aggregators. Sir.
I think, Raunak, this is a very debatable question now. It differs from a lot of individuals across the segment within the industry, right? For us, I think in the time of COVID, I think Swiggy, Zomato played a very important role in ensuring our kitchens were alive. And in a way that the cash flow was ongoing and we could even feed our staff. So I would say they're a boon and a bane, right? Now, considering today, they are a duopoly. They're big. They're quite large. And all the efforts that were put in by individuals or associations or various other groups to come in and tackle this, probably I would say the approach was never right. We were always trying to compete in a way that we would want a third brand coming in. I think we need to change that approach. And today, in terms of an impact, see, like I said, for our cloud kitchen business, we were burning heavily in the initial 3 years, because that was only an online format and the whole menu was there. A lot of wastages were happening because we were not in control of the demand that was there. But today, like even Chef was saying, the perspective is not on whether it's a vegetarian area or non-vegetarian area. Demand is there, we go there. If the heat map shows it is hot, we get there. And a lot of people think that, okay, Empire has advantages in terms of a percentage of the commission. No, okay. Please do not believe in that, because our average order values are much lower than probably what the Rasoiya would be doing, or a BLR company would be doing, or probably not Auntie Fung's, because there are many restaurants. For us, it is a 360 to 400 rupee AOV. Now for them, To do the delivery itself is a challenge at that value. So we are talking about 15,000 orders a day. For them, there is a large volume. So they always coming and fighting constantly. Bas, nahi ho raha hai, nahi ho raha hai, nahi ho raha hai. My reply is always the same. Aap demand badha do, main delivery kar दूंगा. So my capability is built. We built on, we invested on capabilities. So whatever the demand is thrown, we can deliver. So rather than you fighting with me for a commission, and you throw the demand, we'll do it. And over time, we've understood the discounting factor for a brand like Empire. Discounting will never bring loyalty. For a person who's looking for a discount, whether he eats a 500 rupee biryani or a 50 rupee biryani, sir, aaj maine biryani khaya hai. Doesn't matter. So we let go of discounting in 2020, in the time of COVID. And at that time, 2020, my average order value was at 220. In 5 years, we doubled it without discounts to 380. So there is more brand value. There is more value that people see. So it's all about learning it the hard way. I think for new people, it is going to be a little challenging because they're again listening to people, listening to social media and getting onto that bandwagon. And yes, you will be fleeced with a 25 or a 30% commission because that is how they function. Now, if they don't charge that, probably they can't function either. So I'm being more realistic and practical here, not in favor of anything. But like I said, they are a boon as well as a bane.
Sharad, anything like any tech intervention, do you think it can come?
No, I think, see, Shakir has put it really well. They are part of the ecosystem and we will have to live with them. So when I meet my fellow restaurateurs and people into business, I say that when you're working with Zomato, Swiggy or any aggregators per se, data becomes very important. So their commission is fixed, you cannot change it, right? You have to play volumes. But then the other factors, which is discounting and your discovery, whatever ads you put in to get yourself visible, you have to work, do beta testing, try out, reduce the discounts. And therein 5-10% lies there which you can solve through data. And secondly, as Shakir mentioned that you have, in longer term, you have to focus on your product. You have to focus on your brand building. You have to focus on your storytelling, right? And that's how you will be able to grow and survive in this with aggregators. At the same time, they help you to reach scales where at a very small scale, right? So when I was with Udaan and we were doing a project for quick commerce, I did a dark store with a delivery cost of 30 rupees at an AOV of 450, which was used by Zepto as a model dark store. And I know what it takes, right? So their delivery costs and etc. are rising for the aggregators as well. So they will keep that the P&L pressure will always be there. But as a restaurateur who is passionate about his business, will have to work through data, do beta testing, build a brand for longer term, and that's how you will be able to deal with this. We can cry over it, but that's the reality, and we have to go fight it out and work towards the business and use them to your advantage.
For us, I think it's mostly a dine-in platform.
Yeah,
right?
for dine-in, how is it impacting and what changes are you adopting?
See, I think we have stayed away from the discount as much as possible. And there are months that we have to discount it so that there are new users coming on the platform to discover our brand. But I think mostly if you look at it in 12 months, we just run discount for a month or two maximum. But if you look at a new outlet in Whitefield, I think we have never given discounts at all till date, because I think easily we lose 10% margins.
But is it better to use funds for discovery than discounts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think you can spend money on the ads. I think that will give you a lot more benefit than spending on the discounts.
Yeah,
because
that's a clear thing that's emerging.
Like I have seen a trend where consumers come to the outlet and they open Zomato and see, these guys are in Zomato, then I'll pay through Zomato. Then they get a discount. So you're actually not getting customer through Zomato, but still giving discount to them, right? So I think it's my take, you say, be away from the discounts.
Okay.
Well, I think I've always, my perspective personally, that Swiggy Zomato is a necessary evil, but a very critical component of the ecosystem. And we cannot wish away from that. And honestly, I think if you just zoom out and think 10 years ago, food service was an important industry, but it was not considered as an industry. And nobody thought that 2 food delivery companies can get listed in the stock market in India, which means that online ordering, food delivery is an integral part of every Indian now. And there, Swiggy Zomato has played a big role in maturing the industry or taking it to every nook and corner of the country, not just the top 6 or the top 8 metros of India. So it is there, but what my fellow panelists said, I think there are a lot of other things. So when it comes to tackling the delivery business, it's actually like running an e-commerce business and not the food business per se. How you optimize discounts, how you run those CPC campaigns, how do you, all those funnels, listing to menu, menu to cart, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of, it's more like an e-commerce analytics thing which you have to go deep and it takes time. I've learned it the hard way and for any newbie it is difficult. But you have to, if you have to go scale, build the delivery business, they are an important part of your ecosystem. So you can't disregard that. And even on dine-in also what we are seeing, right? Because finally as consumers, I mean, you look for a deal in an Easy Diner, you look for a deal in a Zomato Gold. So obviously as consumers, we also are to be blamed. So dine-in also, they are trying to gain the share. But yes, it will probably stabilize at a particular stage. Maybe breweries can have slightly higher because those are more planned visits. For me or for an Empire, it may be more impulse walk-in and hence it can be slightly less in dine-in. But it will definitely, it's an integral part and none of us can wish away from that.
Chef, any closing comments, or do you think there is a space for a third player, like Rapido is entering the market or WhatsApp ordering? Do you think there is space for a third player?
Well, I think there are people moving into all cities, and I mean, we're looking at, you know, more population, more density of people, so more consumers. So I mean, this is something that's constantly growing on a, you know, on a percentile year on year. So I don't, I mean, you know, whether who comes in or not, I think the game will still go on with them. I think what we should really look at is, one, to, you know, understand what the cost of acquisition of a client is, because once you get the client in, then they're going to come back to you because, you know, they like your food, they feel a certain level of comfort. So I think as long as, just like in retail, you factor in this cost of acquisition and you have them come back to you the second time, order from you the second time, I think, you know, so it's basically, instead of looking at it as a commission, I would say, you know, I mean, look at it as, you know, a marketing cost that you're putting aside for the first time. But yeah, personally, I mean, you know, it's very difficult. I mean, the numbers just don't work for whether it's dine-in and the kind of discounts they get, whether it's takeaway, you know, I mean, it's just, again, like I said right in the beginning, it's, you know, this futile attempt to try and build the top lines, but then ignoring the bottom lines. So I think profitability is very important, and, you know, variable costs are high, packaging costs, you know, and I think one really needs to look at all of that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you to this wonderful panel. Some of the key takeaways that I personally took, one was that stay true to your product, and you don't need to innovate outside your comfort zone. You don't need to do very fancy things. Stay true to the product. Like BLR Brewing also said, there are 60% of their menu comprise of old favorites. Another thing we of course discussed a lot was the location. Location is a very critical part of starting a new business, and that's going to stay like that in the near future. And third thing that we discussed was about aggregators. Aggregators, it's a necessary evil, and if we have to spend with aggregators, it's better to spend on discovery than on discounts. That was some of the key takeaways. Anything else you guys want to add? Thank you everyone. Thank you for being a patience audience.
I would request the panelists to just be seated. We have a short presentation by Miku's Kitchen. May I have the team here? Up. Just a short one. I know someone seems to be in a hurry to leave. No, we got to cover. But thank you, Mr. Kundu, for keeping it quick. And I think we covered a lot of great points. Sad to see certain people have missed it, but we're going to put it up online. So.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ajinkya Ojha, and I'm the Chief Product Officer of Miku's Kitchen. And we have a lovely panel here out there. Can we have a round of applause for them? We belong to food industry, right? Food gives us energy. Can we have a loud round of applause, everybody? Okay. I think we belong to food industry. All right. So we have so many species on this planet. And what makes humans different? It's the brain, right? It's the brain what makes us different. And what happens is when humans die, even science has proven that the brain is still active for 2 hours, right? And what happens is suddenly the brain collapses after 2 hours. There's only one situation where the brain is not working when a person is alive also. And that is right now when you are on the stage and you have to talk about your products. That time your brain is basically shut. Well, I'll still try. So yes, we are selling packed foods. So there's a notion in this country that packed foods are not so good. And there are some notions in this country that packed foods are good also. But Miku's Kitchen, I'm so sorry, there's some fly here. Okay. So Miku's Kitchen have come up with 9 products. And all those 9 products have come to solve the problem. And very rightly said that technology solves the problem. How? So all this food you see, the ingredients which inside the food are top notch. They are not diluted. They are made with utmost passion and precision. Like for example, we have dal makhni, we have moong dal halwa. So dal makhni is a process of 24 hours of cooking, and we have done that. And we have put the right ingredient inside the packed food. That is ghee, cream, and butter. And it has gone through all the process what actually authentic dal makhni is, right? So the technology I'm coming to is, the technology we are using, it's freeze and dry technology. It's very accurate. The accuracy is 99%. You get all the microbial out of it, and you get all the water out of the food so that it can be preserved for 12 months. Yes, not 1, 2, 3, or 45 days or 90 days. 12 months. And that's how we are solving the problem for HoReCa industry. How do we solve the problem? Well, we have seen a lot of food getting waste, a lot of gravies getting waste. So that's why we have come up with the gravies like palak gravy. There are gravies like yellow gravy and the Punjabi red gravy. All you can do is, you can just take the base gravy and put your tadka into it and serve it to the people, to the consumer. Well, why and how Miku's Kitchen started? I'm going to call up the CEO of Miku's Kitchen, CEO and chef as well, and my business partner, Anamika. Please come on stage. And Anamika will tell us why she started Miku's Kitchen and why she launched up all this product. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ajinkya. Hello, everyone. So I was working in the UK as an IT professional, and I used to miss Indian authentic homemade food, which I never found it anywhere. So I thought to bring up something which can help to everyone who is facing the same pain. And that is how the Miku's Kitchen was born. So we have 9 products, as Ajinkya has mentioned. We have ready to eat desserts, and ready to eat gravies. So it's just ready in 5 minutes. You just need to add hot water, and you will get the authentic homemade Indian food. I give you the guarantee that you will never find that the product is packed, or like if you don't tell anyone, you will not find it out whether it is fresh or not. You please, I request you everyone to come to our stall, which is H415, and try the product. We are cooking live and giving for the tasting. So I request you all to come and try our products to make sure that whatever we are saying is true. Thank you.
And please visit our stall and don't go without trying them. Thank you. Yeah, it's a warning.
Thank you, team. They are all around if you want to know more about your products. I would just welcome our editor, Ms. Tina Joy, to give away short mementos from our end.
So thank you, Mr. Kundu and all our panelists for a wonderful discussion. I hope there were a lot of key takeaways for our audience. And once again, a huge round of applause for our esteemed speakers. We have may I request, may I request Mr. Satish from my team to give away a small memento to our esteemed speakers. We start with Mr. Shakir Haq. Yeah, can we have a nice round of applause for them? Mr. Sharad Gupta. Mr. Sharad Gupta. Okay. May I call upon Ms. Anamika from the Miku team to give away the rest of our mementos. So, Mr. Sharad Gupta, can we have those claps coming, please? Thank you. Mr. Prasanna Kumar. Ma'am, just wait. Yeah, okay. Mr. Subradeep Baumik. Chef Vikram Udaygiri. And last but not least, Mr. Raunak Kundu, who helped us put the panel together. Thank you, ma'am. And may we have all the panelists for a group photograph in the front, please, with your, yeah, you can carry your mementos. We have one more interesting panel discussion coming up. We'll start in 5 minutes because we're running a little bit late. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Chef. Thank you for that very great discussion. We'll be publishing it in our magazine. Yeah, thank you. We'll start the next very interesting discussion in 5 minutes once we have